Unlock ancient Stoicism. Why Marcus Aurelius's rules still terrify modern leaders. For thousands of years, a sacred fire has burned, not in temples or shrines, but deep within the minds and spirits of those who seek clarity, virtue, and authentic understanding. This flame is wisdom, profoundly different from mere intellect or cleverness. It is a steady illumination that brings serenity amidst turmoil, insight amidst confusion, and strength amidst exhaustion. The Stoics, from the disciplined Epictetus to the introspective Marcus Aurelius and the contemplative Seneca, tended this flame through their words, lives, and profound examples. Philosophers across ages have grappled with the allure of fleeting pleasures, superficial gains, and external validation. Socrates declared, "An unexamined life is not worth living," highlighting the necessity of self-awareness as the gateway to wisdom. Similarly, Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who could easily have succumbed to power's corruptive pull, chose instead the path of relentless self-reflection, writing private meditations that sought virtue over vanity. Yet today, in a world flooded with distraction and noise, the Stoics' ancient flame feels distant, though perhaps never more necessary. Our modern predicament, characterized by relentless anxiety, persistent dissatisfaction, and a ceaseless quest for external validation, is precisely the condition Stoicism was built to address. The Stoic path does not offer quick fixes or motivational hype. Instead, it invites us to slow down, reflect deeply, and align ourselves with timeless principles of clarity, courage, and self-control. This journey we are about to undertake seeks not mere intellectual stimulation, but transformational wisdom. As we explore the Stoics' teachings, we aim to reignite this ancient flame within ourselves, not by escaping our complex world, but by meeting it head-on with the calm clarity of wisdom, the only enduring remedy for the confusion of our times. Chapter 1. Know what is yours and what is not. Epictetus, the former slave-turned-philosopher, distilled one of the most profound yet simple truths in philosophy when he declared, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." With these few words, he delivered a key capable of unlocking lasting peace even amid turbulent times. At first glance, this principle appears self-evident, yet on deeper reflection it holds extraordinary power, offering a way out of needless suffering, anxiety, and turmoil. The modern world bombards us incessantly with demands and distractions, enticing us to chase outcomes we cannot possibly control. The approval of others, future successes, the weather, politics, traffic, and countless external events. Yet none of these elements fall truly within our domain. When we invest our emotional well-being into things outside our influence, we inevitably face disappointment, stress, and despair. Stoicism, however, gently guides us back inward, towards clarity and empowerment, teaching us to recognize the boundaries of our true control, our own thoughts, actions, and choices. Marcus Aurelius, deeply influenced by Epictetus, echoes this principle vividly in his meditations. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Aurelius, who ruled an empire and faced ceaseless external pressures, understood the essential wisdom of recognizing and respecting this boundary. Even as emperor, he continually reminded himself to relinquish control over external outcomes, instead dedicating his efforts entirely to how he chose to respond, perceive, and act. This concept does not suggest resignation or apathy, but rather clarity and precision in our emotional and intellectual energy. The Stoic approach frees us from the chaos of trying to manage every outcome, allowing us instead to concentrate fully and effectively on our own internal responses. Imagine confronting criticism from someone you care deeply about. Your instinct, maybe anger or defensiveness. The Stoic asks instead, is their emotion truly mine to carry? Can I control their perception or only my reaction? With this single reframing, peace emerges from clarity. Philosopher Seneca provides further illumination, advising, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. By misjudging what we can control, we amplify our distress, The future, for instance, is a frequent source of anxiety. We worry about possibilities that may never come to pass, draining ourselves emotionally and mentally. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote, a disciplined awareness to clearly separate what can be influenced, preparation, mindset, present action, from what cannot, ultimate outcomes, the unpredictable elements of tomorrow. Applying this practically, the Stoic practice begins simply yet profoundly. Pause when faced with frustration, anxiety, or disappointment, and ask yourself clearly, is this within my control? If it is, act virtuously and decisively. If it is not, accept calmly and shift your focus back to what is yours, your attitude, response, and character. This process transforms everyday moments from potential crises into opportunities for wisdom, growth, and tranquility. Moreover, Stoicism emphasizes love and dedication without attachment to outcomes. You can genuinely care about someone's well-being without attempting to control their choices. You can pursue your ambitions diligently, yet calmly accept outcomes you cannot dictate. This blend of sincere commitment and calm detachment is the hallmark of true wisdom, allowing for passion without anxiety, dedication without despair. In the end, clarity arises from understanding boundaries. Epictetus' teaching acts as a continuous reminder that true peace is not found by mastering the external world, but by mastering our own inner domain, our perceptions, judgments, and choices. Through consistent application of this ancient yet timeless wisdom, the noise of external chaos diminishes, replaced by a profound sense of empowerment, serenity, and lasting strength. Chapter 2. Master yourself before the world. To truly navigate the external world with clarity and resilience, Stoicism teaches us we must first master ourselves. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, exemplifies this profound inner discipline. Despite ruling one of the most powerful empires of history, Aurelius recognized that the greatest battles he faced were internal, conflicts with anger, pride, fear, and lust. In his private meditations, he persistently reminded himself to remain fair, disciplined, calm, and just, because he knew true power lies not in dominating others but in controlling oneself. Stoicism emphasizes that wisdom is fundamentally a matter of mastering our own reactions and impulses. Seneca wisely observed, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." Today, our impulses often seem to control us. We react quickly, driven by emotions that rise and subside like tides, sweeping away reason and clarity. Stoics, however, viewed these internal storms not as inevitable, but as opportunities to practice virtue and restraint. They believed the gap between stimulus and response holds our greatest freedom, the freedom to choose wisely and consciously. 2. Practice self-mastery. We must become observant of our emotions rather than slaves to them. Imagine observing your inner landscape as one observes clouds passing through the sky, watching their shifting shapes without attachment or panic. By patiently noticing emotions like anger or envy, rather than immediately acting upon them, we create space for wisdom. Instead of being driven by instinctive impulses, we pause, question, and then respond thoughtfully. Epictetus reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom, according to the Stoics, is not the absence of emotions, but the disciplined capacity to manage them. Mastery involves not suppressing, but understanding the root causes of our impulses. When anger arises, rather than blindly giving into it, the Stoic asks thoughtfully, "Why am I angry? What triggered this reaction? What belief fuels this emotion?" By approaching ourselves with curiosity rather than shame, we develop the capacity to recognize habitual emotional patterns and ultimately break free from their grip. Marcus Aurelius further explains, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." His advice underscores the essential Stoic truth. To master yourself means to refine the quality of your inner dialogue. The stories we tell ourselves about situations shape our emotional responses. Thus, training our mind to interpret situations wisely and fairly transforms not just our internal reactions, but the quality of our lives. To cultivate this strength, Stoicism advocates daily practices of reflection and intentional challenge. For instance, when confronted by discomfort, whether it's criticism, loss, or frustration, the Stoic refrains from immediately numbing or avoiding the feeling. Instead, they practice sitting quietly with the discomfort, exploring its origin, and seeking lessons within it. These acts of stillness amidst agitation are not passive, they require courage and discipline. Yet in these quiet moments, character is forged, clarity emerges, and wisdom grows. Through repeated small victories over impulsiveness, choosing understanding over defensiveness, patience over irritation, calm breathing over emotional reaction, we gradually strengthen our inner resolve. Each decision, each response shapes who we become. Over time, these conscious choices build an inner fortress, not a wall to isolate ourselves, but boundaries to protect our virtue, clarity, and inner peace. Thus, Stoicism teaches that mastery of oneself is the essential foundation for engaging effectively and wisely with the world, not through dominance or suppression, but through disciplined awareness, compassionate self-inquiry, and courageous reflection. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus show us that the true measure of strength lies not in conquering external battles, but in cultivating an inner calm capable of weathering any storm. Chapter 3. Be curious and always learning. In a world overflowing with information, true wisdom lies not in the mere accumulation of knowledge, but in cultivating an ever-curious mind that continually seeks deeper understanding. The Stoics embodied this idea passionately, recognizing that the pursuit of wisdom is a lifelong journey marked by humility and an unwavering openness to learning. Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling an empire and being considered among the wisest of his generation, humbly insisted, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after." Aurelius's profound humility exemplifies a fundamental Stoic virtue, curiosity grounded in openness rather than arrogance. Unlike those who cling stubbornly to certainty, the Stoics regarded uncertainty not as a threat but as an invitation to explore, rethink, and grow. They knew that intellectual arrogance blinds, while curiosity enlightens. Seneca, too, emphasized the continual need for learning when he wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." He viewed wisdom as something actively pursued rather than passively absorbed. Each day and each person we encounter, especially those who challenge or contradict us, offers a valuable lesson, if only we remain humble enough to see it. Seneca understood that growth flourishes best not when we defend our ideas but when we courageously question them. Stoic curiosity is deliberate and disciplined, not scattered or idle. It seeks to explore questions that matter deeply. What am I missing? What assumptions should I reconsider? How might someone wiser handle this situation? Such inquiry propels us beyond surface understanding, guiding us toward profound transformation. Instead of merely acquiring knowledge to appear intelligent, Stoics aim for insight that genuinely reshapes their behavior and character. Practically, cultivating this Stoic curiosity begins with daily habits of self-examination and reflective questioning. Journaling, for instance, serves as an invaluable tool to record questions rather than merely answers. Ask yourself regularly, what did today teach me? Where did I mistakenly assume something? Which belief of mine was tested or disproven? These reflective moments offer deeper understanding and foster intellectual humility. Furthermore, engaging broadly and deeply across diverse fields enriches curiosity. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca encouraged immersing oneself in varied disciplines, philosophy, literature, history, poetry, even science, not merely to amass information, but to gain new lenses through which to view life. Each discipline opens doors to human experience, teaching lessons beyond mere facts, empathy from literature, resilience from history, clarity from philosophy, and wonder from science. Epictetus famously noted, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This highlights an essential barrier to curiosity, the illusion of complete knowledge. To combat this, Stoicism encourages active humility. Regularly admitting, "I don't know," becomes a powerful practice, opening up endless possibilities for growth and genuine learning. The Stoics also recognize the powerful relationship between curiosity and patience. Today's culture often demands quick, superficial answers, mistaking immediacy for understanding. True wisdom, however, matures patiently. Stoics resist rushing prematurely toward answers, instead cultivating the capacity to dwell thoughtfully with unresolved questions. It is within these quiet spaces of uncertainty that deeper insights often flourish. Ultimately, Stoicism teaches us that curiosity is far more than intellectual pursuit. It's a spiritual discipline that shapes character and dismantles ego. It reminds us constantly of our fallibility, encouraging us to remain learners throughout life. When we live curiously, every interaction, challenge, or setback becomes an opportunity to discover something valuable. This mindset keeps us humble, agile, and perpetually open to life's infinite lessons, transforming each day into an ongoing dialogue with wisdom itself. Chapter 4. Seek the truth, even when it hurts. To the Stoics, wisdom meant confronting reality, directly regardless of how uncomfortable or painful it might be. Truth, they argued, might sting at first, but it always liberates in the end. This relentless commitment to truthfulness, especially self-honesty, is essential because anything built on illusion eventually crumbles. Epictetus famously warned, "It is impossible for a man to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows." Here lies the core of the Stoic pursuit, the willingness to challenge our own comfortable assumptions, even when doing so reveals unsettling truths. Self-deception, according to the Stoics, is our greatest obstacle. It is easy and temporarily comforting to create narratives that shield us from responsibility or uncomfortable realities. We justify our failures by blaming external factors. We explain away conflicts by making ourselves the victim. We hold tightly to beliefs that soothe rather than enlighten. Yet Seneca cautioned against this temptation, writing, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." This insight urges us to strip away the comforting fictions and illusions that cloud our judgment. Marcus Aurelius, too, valued stark honesty, particularly about himself. Even as emperor, he wrote deeply personal meditations, acknowledging his shortcomings, flaws, and failings openly and plainly. He practiced radical self-accountability, continuously asking himself questions that pierced his pride and ego. Where have I been dishonest with myself today? Which weaknesses am I ignoring rather than confronting? How am I complicit in my own difficulties? By doing this, he not only accepted uncomfortable truths, but also leveraged them for genuine personal growth. Stoicism encourages this uncompromising clarity, because a life grounded in reality, even when painful, is ultimately the only truly stable one. Any structure built on falsehoods, whether beliefs, relationships, or ambitions, is inherently fragile. Truth, by contrast, provides a foundation of authentic strength, resilience, and freedom. When we cease deceiving ourselves, we no longer require external validation or constant reassurance, and we stop needing the world to conform to our desires or fantasies. Practically, the Stoics urge us to consistently apply honesty as a daily practice. In every challenge or conflict, instead of immediately searching for someone or something else to blame, Stoicism teaches us to first look inward. What role did I play in creating or perpetuating this situation? When resentment arises, ask yourself, what expectation was broken here? Was it realistic, fair, and clear, or was I demanding something impossible? Each honest inquiry gradually removes the layers of self-deception, bringing clarity and genuine power. Moreover, Stoics viewed honest feedback from others, even harsh criticism, as precious. Rather than deflecting or rationalizing away criticism, they embraced it as an opportunity to understand themselves more clearly. Epictetus emphasized this practice, stating, "If someone tells you that somebody else is speaking ill of you, do not defend yourself against what was said, but reply, 'He obviously did not know my other faults, otherwise he would not have mentioned only these.'" This humorous yet profound response illustrates the Stoic attitude of humility and fearless self-awareness. In the pursuit of truth, discomfort becomes not an obstacle, but an ally, revealing the path toward authentic self-improvement. Every painful acknowledgement becomes an opportunity for growth, every honest reflection a step toward greater freedom. Through the disciplined practice of truthful living, Stoicism guides us beyond illusions and superficial comforts, ultimately delivering genuine peace, resilience, and lasting clarity. By courageously seeking the truth, even when it hurts, we free ourselves from fear and self-deception. In doing so, we build a life rooted in reality, integrity, and profound self-understanding, becoming not merely observers of our own lives, but active participants in our own transformation. Chapter 5. Let death be your teacher. Few concepts offer as powerful a perspective shift as contemplating our own mortality. The Stoics knew this deeply and frequently reminded themselves of the Latin phrase memento mori, remember, you must die. Far from a morbid obsession, they embraced this concept as a profound guide, sharpening their senses, clarifying their priorities, and awakening their spirits to the urgency of each moment. Marcus Aurelius encapsulated this mindset when he urged himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Death for the Stoics was not a dreaded enemy, but a wise teacher. Instead of fearing it, they used death's inevitability as motivation to live meaningfully and courageously. They understood that forgetting our finite nature causes us to drift through life, postponing essential actions, squandering precious moments, and investing energy in superficial worries. Seneca sternly reminds us of this when he writes, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Life's brevity isn't the true tragedy. The real loss is spending what little time we have carelessly. Death teaches urgency, not panic or haste, but deliberate intention. Acknowledging our mortality compels us to simplify our lives, trimming away distractions and trivial concerns. When we clearly see how limited our time truly is, every yes and every no gains profound significance. We speak more honestly, love more fearlessly, forgive more easily, and focus clearly on what genuinely matters: integrity, compassion, purpose, and peace. Stoicism's perspective on death also liberates us from anxiety about uncertainty. Recognizing that we cannot control when or how our lives end, we learn instead to savor every present moment fully and consciously. Instead of anxiously grasping for security, fame, or wealth, the Stoics encourage gratitude and mindful presence. Every day, every breath becomes a gift, not to be hoarded in fear but celebrated in clarity. Epictetus emphasized this attitude when advising, "Keep death before your eyes daily, then you will never think badly of anything or desire anything excessively." His advice helps us strip away the superficial desires and petty irritations that consume our attention. When we remain aware of our mortality, trivial complaints fade, conflicts seem insignificant, and compassion becomes easier because we vividly recognize our shared human condition. Practically, Stoicism encourages regular contemplation of life's temporary nature as an exercise in clarity and gratitude. We can apply this by asking ourselves regularly, if today were my last day, what would I regret not having done? Who would I wish to forgive, thank, or embrace more fully? Which worries or arguments would suddenly become irrelevant? Writing down answers to these questions, journaling openly and honestly, can profoundly reshape our priorities, enriching our lives and relationships. This practice also serves as a powerful antidote to procrastination and complacency. Remembering, death teaches us not to postpone essential actions or important conversations. It helps us say, "I love you, I forgive you," or "I'm sorry" without delay or hesitation. It guides us to take risks and pursue meaningful goals rather than settle into comfort and stagnation. Ultimately, the Stoics remind us that death is not something we avoid by ignoring it. It comes regardless. But we can choose how it shapes our lives. By accepting death as a trusted teacher, we become more fully alive, grounded in authentic presence rather than anxious avoidance. We learn to cherish every moment, speak truths boldly, and act courageously. The Stoics show us clearly living in the awareness of death is not about surrendering to despair, but awakening deeply to the precious and fleeting nature of existence, thus enriching every breath we take. Chapter 6. Strengthen the mind like a muscle. The Stoics recognize that wisdom is not merely a passive gift or an innate talent, but a quality cultivated deliberately through persistent practice. Just as the body gains strength through regular exercise, the mind grows resilient through disciplined training. Marcus Aurelius, deeply aware of this, began each day reminding himself of the virtues he needed: patience, composure, clarity to meet life's inevitable chaos. He saw daily life not as a stage for performance, but as a training ground for building inner strength. Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He understood that mental strength does not arise from avoiding difficulty, but from deliberately engaging with it. Each challenge, each setback, was viewed not as an interruption, but as essential training, strengthening his mental resilience and clarity. Just as muscles grow through resistance, the mind develops through adversity, reflection, and disciplined responses. Epictetus reinforced this practice, teaching, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond." This principle of internal mastery emphasizes the need to regularly exercise the mind's capacity to pause, observe, and thoughtfully respond, rather than impulsively react. Through repeated practice, emotional reactions, anger, anxiety, envy, become not uncontrolled storms but manageable weather, observed calmly, understood clearly, and transformed consciously. Practically, strengthening the mind begins with intentional practices of reflection and mental discipline. Daily journaling is a powerful Stoic exercise, not simply recounting events, but deeply examining our interpretations, reactions, and judgments. Ask regularly, "Why did I respond this way? Is this belief helpful or habitual? How could a wiser version of myself handle this situation?" Through repeated reflection, clarity grows and habitual reactive patterns gradually transform into deliberate, thoughtful responses. Seneca encouraged facing voluntary discomfort as a mental training exercise, advising us to occasionally embrace situations like fasting, exposure to cold, or solitude. He suggested these practices not as punishments but as valuable teachers, building resilience and expanding comfort zones. By regularly engaging with minor discomforts, we increase our psychological flexibility, learning to stay calm and clear-headed, even under pressure. Another potent practice advocated by the Stoics is meditation on adversity. Marcus Aurelius regularly reminded himself that daily life inevitably includes frustrations, insults, and setbacks. By anticipating these difficulties calmly in advance, he prepared himself mentally, ensuring that when challenges arrived, he met them with equanimity rather than panic or resentment. Epictetus emphasized the critical role of habituation. No great thing is created suddenly. Mental strength, he explained, accumulates through countless small choices and actions. Over time, each moment we resist a destructive impulse, whether to lash out, indulge mindlessly, or withdraw defensively, we incrementally build a deeper inner strength. These seemingly small acts of self-control compound profoundly, shaping a strong, clear, and resilient character over time. Stoicism thus views mental training as an ongoing, cumulative process, demanding consistency over occasional bursts of motivation. Just as physical muscles respond positively to repeated incremental training, the mind responds similarly to repeated mental practices, reflection, intentional discomfort, and disciplined observation. Over weeks, months, and years, these daily exercises forge a mental fortress not through rigidity, but through flexible clarity and calm resilience. Ultimately, the Stoics teach that genuine strength arises internally and endures. External circumstances fluctuate endlessly, but mental fortitude remains our own reliable foundation. By consciously training our minds through daily disciplined practices, we cultivate an unshakable inner strength, capable of facing life's inevitable chaos calmly and wisely. This strength, patiently built and deeply rooted, becomes the quiet but profound power Stoicism promises, the ability to stand firm, clear, and at peace, no matter the storm that surrounds us. Chapter 7. Speak little, listen deeply. Epictetus offered profound wisdom when he observed, "Nature gave us one tongue and two ears so we could listen twice as much as we speak." This simple yet powerful advice encapsulates a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, the deliberate practice of deep, attentive listening. In a modern world obsessed with voicing opinions, asserting dominance, and filling silence with noise, Stoicism teaches us the profound strength found not in speaking, but in listening carefully and intentionally. For the Stoics, silence is not merely an absence of speech, but a discipline and an active choice. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of thoughtful restraint when he counseled himself, "Let silence be your goal for the most part. Say only what is necessary, and speak it plainly." He understood that fewer, more carefully chosen words carry greater weight and clarity, leaving less room for misunderstanding or needless conflict. His advice highlights an essential truth. The fewer words spoken, the more carefully each word must be considered, ultimately sharpening our clarity and integrity. Listening deeply, however, is not passive. It demands active engagement, discipline, and humility. To truly listen is to set aside our assumptions, ego, and instinct to reply. Instead, we actively strive to understand the speaker's intentions, emotions, and underlying truths. Seneca reinforced this when he wrote, "If you listen carefully, you may learn something new. If you talk too much, you risk repeating only what you already know." Listening thus becomes a powerful tool for growth, ensuring our minds remain flexible, humble, and constantly expanding. Practicing this deep listening requires discipline. We must resist the temptation to jump in immediately, to interrupt, or to mentally prepare our next response while someone else is speaking. The Stoics urge us instead to cultivate genuine curiosity and patience, letting conversations unfold fully before responding thoughtfully. Epictetus insisted, "Be silent as to services you have rendered, but speak of favors you have received." By prioritizing gratitude and humility, he reminds us that wise speech should always serve to deepen connection, rather than merely assert dominance. The Stoics also understood that deep listening involves hearing beyond mere words. It includes observing tone, pauses, body language, and the subtle emotions underlying speech. By training ourselves to listen to these nuances, we become more empathetic, compassionate, and insightful, able to respond with true wisdom rather than superficial reactions. Through silence and attentive presence, we create a space where genuine understanding can flourish, transforming conversations into opportunities for meaningful connection rather than shallow exchanges. Practically applying Stoic listening involves conscious exercises. Begin by practicing deliberate silence in conversations, allowing others to finish completely before responding. Use simple prompts like, "Tell me more," "What makes you think that?" or "How did that affect you?" to foster deeper engagement and demonstrate genuine interest. Resist the urge to dominate conversations or prove points. Instead, cultivate genuine curiosity about others' perspectives, even if they contradict your own beliefs. Moreover, mindful journaling helps develop the habit of deep listening internally. Regularly pause to reflect on your conversations. Was I truly listening? What subtle cues did I miss? How might I respond differently with greater understanding? This practice develops heightened awareness and reinforces the habit of attentive presence, both internally and externally. Ultimately, Stoicism emphasizes the quiet yet transformative power of disciplined listening and thoughtful speech. It teaches that true wisdom resides not in eloquence or dominance, but in the rare skill of listening deeply and responding meaningfully. By consciously practicing this habit, we enrich our relationships, cultivate humility, and sharpen our understanding. The Stoic path urges us to embrace silence not as emptiness, but as a profound source of insight, clarity, and lasting wisdom. Chapter 8. Be grateful for every trial. The Stoics viewed life not as a smooth path to be traveled without hardship, but as an intricate landscape shaped precisely by its difficulties. Marcus Aurelius famously stated, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In these words, he captured a powerful Stoic truth. Obstacles are not deviations from our journey. They are essential components of it. Far from avoiding difficulties, Stoicism urges us to embrace them with genuine gratitude, recognizing each trial as an invaluable teacher in disguise. This attitude toward hardship is rooted deeply in Stoic belief that adversity reveals and ultimately strengthens character. Epictetus reinforced this idea by declaring, "Difficulties show a person's character. So when a challenge confronts you, remember that you are being trained." He taught that trials uncover hidden strengths within us, strengths that comfort or ease might leave dormant. Challenges teach us patience, courage, humility, resilience, and compassion, qualities rarely cultivated without struggle. Seneca likewise saw adversity as essential, writing, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Each hardship we encounter, whether failure, loss, or disappointment, is an opportunity for deeper reflection, greater wisdom, and personal growth. Far from something to avoid or resent, challenges become our curriculum, guiding us toward profound insights about ourselves and the world. Practically, embracing gratitude for trials requires consciously shifting our mindset from complaint and self-pity toward curiosity and acceptance. The Stoics teach us to approach each difficulty with questions rather than resentment. Instead of lamenting, ask sincerely, "What lesson is hidden within this struggle? How is this experience refining my character? What skills or virtues can I develop from this hardship?" By training ourselves to consistently seek growth within adversity, we transform suffering into meaningful opportunities for self-improvement. Journaling, again, becomes a critical tool. The Stoics regularly advised reflecting on hardships daily, not merely recounting them, but carefully extracting lessons from each encounter. Marcus Aurelius famously began many mornings anticipating potential difficulties, preparing himself mentally and emotionally for whatever arose. Such practices help us maintain gratitude toward adversity, transforming resistance into readiness and resentment into resilience. Moreover, the Stoics did not advocate passive acceptance of suffering, but rather an active engagement with it. Facing trials deliberately without complaint builds resilience and fortifies our inner strength. By willingly confronting difficulties, rather than avoiding or numbing ourselves, we gain power over fear, despair, and self-doubt. Gratitude for trials is thus not passive resignation, but active mastery, a deliberate choice to use hardship productively, purposefully, and courageously. Epictetus highlighted this approach when he advised, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want. Rather wish that what happens happen the way it does, then you will be happy." In other words, by genuinely accepting and even welcoming life's inevitable struggles, we transform them into instruments of growth rather than sources of bitterness. Gratitude, in this sense, is a profound form of empowerment, reshaping our entire relationship with adversity. The Stoics remind us that life is not meant to be easy or fair, but meaningful. Gratitude for every trial shifts our focus from external unfairness to internal growth. It liberates us from victimhood and empowers us to live deliberately, courageously, and wisely. Over time, hardships cease to feel like punishments and instead become indispensable guides, shaping us into stronger, wiser, and more compassionate individuals. Ultimately, embracing gratitude for trials allows us to live with profound clarity and resilience, trusting that every obstacle carries hidden gifts. In welcoming adversity with openness and curiosity, we not only strengthen our character but enrich our experience of life itself, transforming struggle into purpose, pain into wisdom, and challenges into lasting growth. Chapter 9. Embrace solitude, not isolation. Solitude, as understood by the Stoics, is a powerful and essential practice, not a withdrawal from the world out of fear or resentment, but a conscious turning inward to gain clarity, strength, and genuine self-understanding. Seneca, who often retreated deliberately into moments of solitude, captured this beautifully. Withdraw into yourself as far as you can. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. In solitude, we reconnect profoundly with ourselves, cultivating inner wisdom that enriches our interactions with others. Yet the Stoics were clear to distinguish healthy solitude from harmful isolation. Isolation is rooted in fear, loneliness, or avoidance, gradually disconnecting us from others and ourselves. Solitude, by contrast, is intentional. It strengthens, empowers, and reconnects. Epictetus reinforced this essential difference when he taught, "You bear God within you, and do not perceive that you defile it by impure thoughts and foul deeds." In solitude, we reconnect with our deepest values, cleansing our minds from noise, distraction, and superficial demands. Isolation shrinks our world, while solitude expands our inner strength. Marcus Aurelius, ruling amidst ceaseless demands and distractions, cherished moments of quiet solitude. Even amid battles and bureaucratic duties, he carved out private time daily, writing reflections that clarified his purpose and strengthened his resolve. He understood deeply that real wisdom grows in quiet spaces, where the mind is allowed to settle and self-examination becomes truly possible. Aurelius practiced solitude to sharpen his discernment, to reaffirm his values, and to maintain alignment between his internal beliefs and external actions. Practically embracing solitude requires deliberate intention. Daily routines such as morning reflection, journaling, or quiet walks can become sacred practices. Instead of filling every moment with noise, scrolling, socializing, or distraction, consciously make room for silence. Begin with small steps. Set aside moments in your day, even brief periods, to sit quietly, to reflect intentionally, or to simply exist in stillness. Observe your thoughts calmly, without judgment, noticing patterns that arise and seeking insight beneath the surface noise. Stoics particularly valued solitude for rehearsing virtue. Seneca advised his students to use quiet time to prepare mentally and emotionally for inevitable challenges, to visualize calmly facing insult with grace, frustration with patience, fear with courage. This mental rehearsal strengthens our resolve, ensuring that when challenges arrive, we respond deliberately rather than reactively. Moreover, solitude offers clarity by distancing us momentarily from external opinions, pressures, and judgments. It is within these quiet intervals that we reconnect to our authentic selves, revisiting essential questions. Who am I beneath my roles and obligations? What values truly guide my actions? Who do I wish to become? These reflective inquiries ground our daily lives deeply in meaning, integrity, and clarity. Isolation, conversely, arises from fear or resentment, encouraging us to retreat defensively from life's demands. This withdrawal often breeds bitterness, loneliness, and fragility, cutting us off not only from others but also from our own growth. Stoicism clearly warns against this kind of reactive withdrawal, encouraging instead proactive, intentional solitude that fortifies character and deepens connections when we return to the world. Ultimately, Stoicism teaches that solitude is not merely beneficial, it is vital. When practiced intentionally, it reconnects us with our deepest principles, sharpens our awareness, and provides essential clarity amidst chaos. Far from isolating us, genuine solitude strengthens our inner resources, enabling us to engage meaningfully and wisely with others. By embracing solitude regularly, we cultivate an unshakable inner calm, clarity, and resilience, transforming our inner silence into a powerful source of lasting wisdom, strength, and peace. Chapter 10. Let wisdom guide every step. Stoicism is not simply a philosophy to be studied, it is a way of life to be actively lived, guiding each decision, conversation, and quiet moment. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that true wisdom manifests not through abstract ideas, but through our daily habits and practical actions. He consistently reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Wisdom, in the Stoic sense, becomes our daily compass, aligning inner thoughts, external words, and intentional deeds into one coherent path of integrity. Epictetus taught that wisdom isn't about appearing intelligent or gaining applause, but rather about consistently choosing the right actions for the right reasons, regardless of external validation or recognition. He urged, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Wisdom then becomes visible not through eloquence, but through consistent demonstration. It is the quiet strength in how we respond to insult, the patience we show under pressure, the humility we maintain amid praise, and the calm presence we offer in chaos. The Stoics recognize that such wisdom does not happen spontaneously or occasionally. It is cultivated patiently over a lifetime. Seneca reinforced this ongoing pursuit by insisting, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." The path of wisdom is marked by continuous growth, requiring daily commitment, reflection, and disciplined practice. Even the wisest Stoics like Marcus Aurelius acknowledged their continual need for learning, self-correction, and growth, exemplifying that wisdom is always a work in progress rather than a final destination. Practically, letting wisdom guide every step involves consistent self-reflection. Daily journaling provides essential structure. Regularly ask yourself, did my actions today align with my deepest values? Did I respond wisely to challenges, or was I reactive and impulsive? How can I improve tomorrow? Such honest reflection ensures that wisdom remains actively integrated into daily life, not merely abstract theory. Moreover, Stoicism encourages using wisdom actively as a standard against which we measure our progress, not external achievements, wealth, or status, but integrity, resilience, compassion, and clarity. Epictetus stated bluntly, "If you seek truth, you will not seek victory by dishonorable means." Wisdom demands that we evaluate success not by societal applause, but by the quiet clarity and strength of our character. The Stoics also advise consciously applying wisdom to even the smallest daily interactions. Every decision, however mundane, becomes an opportunity to practice virtue deliberately. How we speak to strangers, how we react in traffic, how we manage interruptions or frustrations, each seemingly trivial moment becomes significant, shaping our character incrementally but profoundly. By consistently choosing patience, calm, honesty, and compassion, we gradually embed wisdom deeply into our lives. Finally, Stoicism insists that wisdom requires humility and openness to ongoing learning. The wise remain teachable, receptive to criticism, willing to revise their perspectives when proven mistaken. Marcus Aurelius exemplified this when he declared himself eager to change his opinions whenever truth required it, stating, "If anyone can refute me, I will gladly change its truth that I seek." Genuine wisdom remains agile and flexible, committed to truth above ego or reputation. In living this way, Stoicism promises not ease or perfection, but profound inner freedom. Wisdom liberates us from emotional turmoil, superficial anxieties, and impulsive reactions, providing instead a calm, clear inner sanctuary rooted in integrity. Each wise choice builds strength, clarity, and peace incrementally, ultimately transforming not only ourselves but influencing those around us through example rather than words. Thus, the Stoic path culminates not merely in intellectual insight, but in a practical, deeply embodied wisdom guiding every step of our lives. It offers an enduring compass, aligning thought, word, and action, anchoring us firmly amidst life's unpredictability. Letting wisdom guide each moment transforms life from mere survival into profound, purposeful living, rich in clarity, resilience, and lasting peace. Wisdom, as the Stoics taught, is not a distant destination, but a lifelong journey, a way of being that guides each decision, shapes each interaction, and deepens each moment. Marcus Aurelius embodied this philosophy, reminding himself constantly, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." With these words, he illustrates that wisdom must infuse every moment, reminding us of life's brevity and urging clarity, authenticity, and integrity. Stoicism provides practical tools to cultivate wisdom daily, knowing clearly what we control and what we don't. mastering our reactions before attempting to influence the world, remaining curious and continuously learning, seeking truth even when it hurts, embracing death as a teacher, training our minds rigorously, listening deeply, gratefully facing trials, and cherishing intentional solitude. Each practice enriches our inner world, empowering us to navigate life's uncertainties with grace, resilience, and strength. Epictetus reinforces that philosophy must become tangible through action, advising us to embody wisdom rather than merely discuss it. Seneca similarly emphasizes continuous growth. As long as you live, keep learning how to live. This lifelong pursuit demands humility, self-awareness, and disciplined practice, never promising ease, but delivering profound inner peace and clarity. Ultimately, Stoicism invites us not to retreat from life, but to engage fully, compassionately, and wisely. Through dedicated practice, we gradually become steady, anchored in virtue, unshaken by external chaos. This journey, pursued earnestly, transforms us from mere students of philosophy into living examples of wisdom. It ensures that our lives, defined not by transient successes but by enduring integrity, courage, and clarity, leave a legacy that truly endures. The path toward wisdom never ends, but walking it faithfully enriches each step we take.